Hello, hello, everyone. Rough time right now. We're just before the break, so I'll keep it short. So my name is Alon. I'm working with a big team on a project called SSV Network. We do decentralized staking infrastructure, and let's see if the click works. Right. We're doing decentralized infrastructure for Ethereum staking. Raise your hand if you heard about Ethereum staking. Oh, wow, good. Raise your hand if you are staking on Ethereum. That's pretty good, actually. Cool. So we built decentralized infrastructure for Ethereum staking, and really the kind of the mission we have is to safely onboard the next $100 billion into ETH staking. This mission is pretty critical for both Ethereum and the ecosystem at large, and we'll see why. But Ethereum staking is very special, it's very different, it's very unique, and it's very big. So almost 12.5 million ETH at stake, billions and billions of dollars. It's only 18 or 17 months from when it started. And we haven't even hit this big event called the merge, which actually activates Ethereum staking to validate transactions. It's a huge amount of money, it's a huge amount of ETH, and it's going to be pretty big in the future as well, post-merge, and we'll talk about the merge in a sec, but post-merge we're talking about 10 to 15% APR a year. So it's pretty amazing. There's nothing equivalent to it. That's why it's so big. That's why it's so important. The merge itself, which really is the event that activates Ethereum staking, is going to be around August or September this year. Hopefully, fingers crossed. It's going to terminate completely proof of work for Ethereum. That's why it's so big. It means that every transaction from that moment on Ethereum is going to be validated through proof of stake, completely proof of stake. And of course, whoever stakes gets transaction fees and also block fees. And it's on a whole different level and a whole different scale in terms of the rewards you can get for your ETH. Anyone who ever staked ETH on the different DeFi protocols know Ethereum usually gets around 0.3% as rewards, because nobody wants to bet against Ethereum. Nobody really wants to do that. With Ethereum staking, we're talking about 10 to 15%, which is pretty incredible. There's a lot of challenges with Ethereum staking. Ethereum staking is fairly complex. There's a concept called slashing, which is basically if you do something wrong, your stake gets slashed, some of it at least, and you get kicked out of the protocol. It's very hard to do right in terms of development costs and complexity. It tends to be centralized as we see it. And there's also this thing called client diversity. But all in all, it's pretty difficult for a lot of reasons. And what it does, basically, it means that everything is pushed towards centralization, which is bad for Ethereum. It's bad for everything. Ethereum kind of philosophical point of view with staking was always, let's decentralize it, let's make it controllable by a large group of people. And the current situation is not really there. That's why this mission we have to build infrastructure to decentralize it, it's so important, because if Ethereum fails, the crypto at large will probably get a big hit. But if Ethereum succeeds in that mission, in that big mission, we'll see a lot of growth. I always compare Ethereum staking to bonds. It's going to be a huge market for it. And if that's successful, it's going to be impacting DeFi, it's going to be impacting NFTs, it's going to be impacting everyone who has Ethereum in their wallets. And so what we're trying to do is change this paradigm. What you're seeing in front of you is basically the architecture for every Ethereum staking right now. And the problem is it's very, very centralized. It's very, very single point of failure. And the worst thing, it's not reusable. Basically, everyone who wants to create a staking service needs to recreate their own infrastructure. And when they do that, they also do that in a centralized way. So it's kind of a double hit. This hinders a lot of the innovation we can see and limits a lot of the things we can do with Ethereum staking. And so we want to transform this into this. SSV, the protocol we're working on, stands for Secret Shared Validator. It basically takes two technologies, threshold signatures and a consensus protocol. It enables taking Ethereum validators and spreading the control of them between different independent parties. What it does is it coordinates between them with a consensus protocol, and then if one of them gets hit, crashes, gets hacked, everything goes well because you have the rest of them. They need one another with using threshold signatures in order to actually execute anything. And so if one of them is compromised, nothing happens. And the big thing around that is that we're building it as a network. And so this is reusable infrastructure. If you can imagine a network of 1,000 operators offering their services for anyone, and anyone wants to build a staking protocol or staking service on top of it, just goes into this network and chooses the operators they want to use, and are trusting in the protocol itself to be decentralized, to be secure, and so on and so forth. This is a really, really big and important thing. We're actually calling it L0. If you go through the Ethereum tech stack, you have L1, which is Ethereum, L2, which everyone knows about, all the scale things. And so what we're developing is L0. It's the thing that secures Ethereum in the right way. We've been working on this technology for 2 years. It started out live as a project by the Ethereum Foundation. Me and my team got into it and developed with them the initial POC, and later on testnets and so on and so forth. And this is really kind of the next-gen technology for the way Ethereum staking is going to be done. And so where we are, we've been running a testnet for about a year, and we're preparing for the next testnet, which hopefully will be the release candidate. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because specifically in Israel, we have a very large community of developers, and we are very developer-focused. As I've mentioned, this is a network or an infrastructure for staking, or Ethereum staking in specific. And so we are very much developer-centric, both startups but also larger companies. So much so that we launched 2 programs which are there to incentivize and create a lot of ecosystem around this protocol. So the first one is the grant program, roughly $3 million going towards grants for anyone who wants to apply and build something on SSV. And so if you guys are a developer, if you have a company who wants to get into the staking business, if you have a great idea, come meet us, and would love to talk. And the second thing is that join the testnet, the next testnet, which will launch in a month, and you'll be able to get into the incentivized testnet program. Basically, if you contribute to the testnet, if you work on the testnet as an operator, as a validator, you'll be able to get airdrops and rewards. We are doing all of that in order to scale and test it up in a higher level. This is actually the second incentivized testnet we're doing. And all of that is really geared towards launching this to mainnet right after the merge. And so if the merge is in August or September, we're expecting to launch right after. And so if you're developers, please come see us, especially if you want to get into the staking business on Ethereum. Thank you.